I have watched General Hospital long enough to know that Port Charles never truly gives us a quiet day. Even when a spoiler sounds simple on the surface, there is usually something deeper underneath it, something emotional, messy, and dangerous waiting to rise. That is exactly how I feel about the events surrounding Tuesday, the 12th of May, 2026. At first glance, we have Brennan in danger, Drew possibly recovering, Carly panicking, Nina being questioned, Josslyn trapped, Dante facing a terrible family crisis, and Willow standing near the edge of exposure. But to me, this is not just a collection of dramatic incidents. This feels like one of those weeks where General Hospital quietly turns the whole chessboard around, and suddenly the people who thought they were in control realize they have already lost control. The first thing that stays with me is Brennan. I cannot stop thinking about the possibility that Brennan may become a second Drew. That does not mean he is the same man as Drew, or that his story will repeat Drew's exactly. But the pattern is too strong to ignore. Drew has been trapped in a helpless condition, controlled by drugs, secrets, and people who believed they had the right to decide his fate. Now, Brennan may be facing something very similar. If Nina truly used that syringe on him and left him paralyzed, then this story has crossed into very serious territory. What makes it so powerful is that Brennan is not an easy man to overpower. He is experienced, intelligent, and dangerous in his own quiet way. He is the kind of man who usually walks into a room and already understands where the exits are. So if Nina managed to take him down, that says something important about how far she has fallen into desperation. I do not see Nina as simply evil. I never have. I see a woman who has made one bad choice after another because she keeps convincing herself that love, fear, and protection give her permission, but there comes a point when protection becomes harm. If Brennan wakes up in some warehouse, unable to move, knowing Nina did this to him, then he will not just be angry. He will be humiliated, and that may make him more dangerous than ever. This is where Valentin becomes important. Valentin may not approve of what Nina has done, but he is already too close to the fire. If Charlotte wants to expose Nina's latest crime, and Valentin stops her, then he is once again choosing secrecy over truth. As a father, I can understand his instinct. He wants to keep Charlotte safe. He wants to keep her away from adult mistakes. But as a viewer, I also know that Valentin's idea of protection often creates more damage. He may tell himself he is buying time, but in Port Charles, buying time usually means giving disaster a chance to grow bigger. Charlotte's role fascinates me because she may be younger, but she is not blind. She has lived around secrets her whole life. She knows when adults are hiding something. If she suspects Nina, then the truth is already leaking out. Whether Valentin stops her, Carly stops her, or someone else steps in, it may only delay the inevitable. And sometimes on General Hospital, a delayed confession is worse than an immediate one, because by the time the truth comes out, more people have been hurt. Carly's panic makes perfect sense to me. Carly is many things, but she is not foolish when it comes to danger. She knows Brennan's disappearance would not be treated like a normal missing person problem. Brennan has connections. Brennan has enemies. Brennan belongs to a world where people notice when someone disappears. If Carly is tied to Nina's actions in any way, even indirectly, then she has every reason to be afraid. Carly can be bold, stubborn, and sometimes too sure of herself, but she also understands consequences when they are staring her in the face. And right now, the consequence may be bigger than anything she expected. Then there is Drew. I keep coming back to the image of Drew moving his fingers. That kind of moment is classic General Hospital. It does not need a long speech. It does not need an explosion. Just one small movement can change everything. If Drew's body is beginning to recover because the drug is no longer being given to him, then Willow's whole secret may be living on borrowed time. The most interesting part is that Willow may not even know the danger has begun. She may believe Nina continued the plan. She may believe Drew is still helpless. But if Nina used the syringe on Brennan instead, then Nina may have accidentally opened the door to Willow's exposure. That is the tragic beauty of this storyline. Willow's downfall may not come from an enemy. It may come from her own mother trying too hard to protect her. I find that deeply fitting for Nina and Willow because their relationship has always carried pain, longing, and misunderstanding. Nina wants to be the mother Willow needs, but she keeps making choices that could destroy the very daughter she wants to save. It is painful, but it feels true to the kind of emotional drama General Hospital has always done best. If Drew escapes, or even if someone helps him escape, the entire balance changes. Drew recovering even a little means he may remember enough, understand enough, or communicate enough to become dangerous to Willow and Nina. I do not think Drew needs to be fully strong to turn the story upside down. He only needs one chance, one phone call, one trusted person, one moment when no one is watching. That is all it takes in Port Charles. Josslyn's situation at Sidwell's castle adds another kind of tension. Josslyn has grown into someone brave and resourceful, but being brave does not mean she is safe. If Jason has been captured and Sonny is trapped in his own problems, Josslyn may feel completely alone. I can imagine her trying to trick a guard by pretending she is sick or in pain. That feels very much like Josslyn. She would think quickly, use whatever weakness she could pretend to have, and try to turn the guard's attention against him. But if the guard sees through it, then the story becomes even more frightening because Josslyn realizes she cannot rely on a simple trick. She will need patience, courage, and maybe help from someone unexpected. Dante's story with Rocco may be the one that hurts the most emotionally. Dante can know that Cullen was a dangerous man and still know that Rocco had no right to shoot him. That is a terrible place for a father to stand. He loves his son, but he is also a man of law and conscience. He cannot simply pretend this did not happen. And when he questions Lulu for staying silent, I believe his anger is really fear. He is terrified that Rocco's life may be changed forever. He is terrified that silence made everything worse. If Rocco appears and defends Lulu, that may only push Dante harder because now he sees his son not only carrying guilt, but also stepping into the middle of adult blame. The Chase and Willow possibility is another slow-burning problem. If Chase and Willow end up crossing a line, and if Michael has been quietly setting that trap, then Michael may be playing a colder game than people realize. I have always believed Michael can be more calculating than he appears. He does not always explode. Sometimes he waits. Sometimes he lets others make the mistake he needs them to make. If Chase and Willow fall into bed, it may look like passion or weakness, but beneath it, there may be a carefully arranged collapse that makes the betrayal feel sharper. And then we have Ava. If Ethan uses a drugged cloth to kidnap her under Sonny's orders, I think Sonny may be walking into another misunderstanding. Ava and Rick may have had a suspicious conversation, but suspicion is not the same as proof. Ava is at her best when she is cornered, and I can already feel the tension of her being questioned about something Sonny and Ethan may not fully understand. If Ethan discovers that he and Sonny misread the situation, then the story could turn from accusation into embarrassment very quickly. Sonny trusts his instincts, but his instincts are not always facts. What ties all of this together is control. Nina wants to control Brennan and Drew. Carly wants to control the damage. Valentin wants to control what Charlotte knows. Willow wants to control the truth. Michael may want to control Chase and Willow. Dante wants to control a family crisis that is already bigger than him. Josslyn wants control over her own survival. But General Hospital has taught me one thing after all these years. The harder people fight to control everything, the more violently the truth breaks free. That is why I find this moment so exciting. It feels dangerous, emotional, and full of consequences. Brennan's disappearance could bring powerful people searching. Drew's recovery could expose Willow. Charlotte's conscience could threaten Nina. Josslyn's captivity could force a rescue no one is ready for. Dante's family could crack under the weight of silence. And through it all, Port Charles feels alive with that old heat that keeps us watching. I may not agree with every choice these characters make, but I understand why they make them. That is what keeps me invested. Not perfection, not simple heroes and villains, but flawed people making desperate choices and then having to live with what comes next.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.